Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purana Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrahashyakrutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Veda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namah. Om Parthaya Pratibodhikam Bhagavata Narayana Swayam Vyasena Gratikam Purana Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshinim Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayinim Ambatvamanusandatam Bhagavat Gita Bhavadveshinim Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sanga Padakrama Panishadaihi Gayantiyam Samagaha Dhyanavasthitatargatena Manasa Vashyantiyam Yoginaha Yasyantanna Vidusura Suranaha Devaya Tasmai Namah. One verse afterwards. See the verse number 25. Saktah karmanya vidvamsah Yatha kurvanti bharata Kuryad vidvamstha saktah Chikirshur loka sangraham. We were discussing this verse yesterday, in which Lord Krishna gives instruction to a karma yogi, to a person who has a value of performing karma or his duties as a means of knowledge, as a means of moksha, as a means of spiritual growth. So we are talking about someone who is a mumuksha. We said yesterday, the first viveka or the discrimination and discernment that should happen in our life is that the purpose of human life is moksha or freedom. That we are seeking unconditional freedom or unconditional happiness. That's what we are seeking. And that unconditional happiness or freedom is the nature of our own self. Which means that really we are seeking to be our own self. This is the situation in the human life. To discover this fact about our life is a very great discovery. That what I am seeking in my life, the success which I am seeking, the happiness which I am seeking, is to be discovered from my own self. It is not out there. Meaning that happiness or success is not a description of a situation or an accomplishment, such as wealth or power or fame and many other worldly things. They do not constitute success or happiness. The true success or happiness lies within myself. Is not something to be achieved from outside. Of course, the question is, if happiness is my nature, then how come I am not happy all the time? That is because there is some obstruction which deprives me of the happiness which is my own nature. Some inhibiting factor, and that is ignorance. Ignorance which gives rise to ego, the sense of individuality, creates insecurity in me, creates in me a sense of inadequacy or incompleteness, and creates in me a false sense of a seeker, that I have to become happy, I have to find happiness from out there. So these are the notions or conclusions created by ignorance. To discover this, and that can happen when we are enjoying the grace of Ishvara on account of the lot of virtuous or punya karma we must have done in many lives. That we come across someone, a teacher, or somebody who brings this to our attention. We can never suspect that we indeed are what we are seeking. Like the 10th man, who does not count himself, counts the people standing in front of him, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and does not include himself. And then concludes that the 10th man is lost. He has to be searched for. Someone has to bring to his attention that look, you are the 10th man that you are searching for. Because when there is in his mind a conclusion that the 10th man is lost, he will never think that my conclusion is wrong. And whatever he would do, all the search would be based on his conclusion that the 10th man is lost. Similarly, there is a conclusion in our mind that I am basically an unhappy person. I am an incomplete person who become happy. or to become successful, or to become complete, this is the conclusion in my mind. And I never questioned this conclusion. I have taken for granted that this conclusion is the reality of my life. That in reality I am an incomplete, inadequate person, and therefore an unhappy person. I have to become complete, become adequate, become happy. And my whole life is lived on this conclusion. Except that nobody ever discovers happiness or freedom ever. You have a glimpse of freedom. You think that you got it and then you lose it. But nobody can ever gain a sustained sense of happiness or freedom. We do have bouts of happiness and freedom. As our Puja Swami used to describe, dukkam, 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 sukham. Dukkam, 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 sukham. So in between there are glimpses of happiness. So we think that it is coming from elsewhere. But that is, we experience even a moment of happiness. When that cloud of ignorance gets clear for a moment, then we experience our own self. So this discernment, we call it viveka, it's called discernment. It's called discrimination. If this happens in our life, and very often this does not happen in spite of listening to Vedanta. Even though this evening we are very clearly listening to this, it does not enter our mind. If it enters the mind, it doesn't stay there long enough. Our old conclusion of Maya being unhappy or inadequate takes over me again, and I again live in the same rut. But if this conclusion becomes clear to us, then my life takes a turn. I no more remain a seeker of happiness. I become a giver of happiness. Bhagavad Gita teaches that the way to discover happiness is not in seeking happiness, in giving happiness. So there is called the attitude of yoga. There are two attitudes, bhoga and yoga. In the words of our Puja Swamiji, a consumer and a contributor. A consumer is the one who is always seeking to be happy, trying to extract happiness from outside. Whereas a contributor is the one who has an understanding that true happiness comes by giving happiness and not seeking happiness. So that attitude is called yoga. And what is karma yoga? That in whatever karma or action I perform, I bring that attitude to play its role. Meaning that I take the opportunity to perform even a small action as a means of giving happiness, as a means of expressing my kindness, as a means of expressing my goodness. Because unfortunately, both of these things are there in ourselves. There is plenty of kindness in me. At the same time, unfortunately, there is cruelty also in me. There is goodness in me. Unfortunately, there is evil also in me. These two contradictory tendencies exist in me. Like the Kauravas and Pandavas existing on the same battlefield, Similarly also in the same mind these contradictory tendencies exist. Of course both cannot be right. I cannot be a kind person as well as a cruel person. One of them must be right, other must be wrong. What is right? That kindness and goodness is my nature. But then Swamiji, why do I also have cruelty? That is because of ignorance. So we have to live a life which becomes the means of giving up this ignorance. This living life of kindness or compassion or contribution is living life based on knowledge. Whereas being overcome by this tendency of anger or cruelty is living a life of ignorance. You said, this is not knowledge. Kindness is not knowledge. Knowledge, aham brahmasmi is knowledge. But kindness also is knowledge. It leads me into the ultimate knowledge that I am Brahma. The 13th chapter, Lord Krishna describes all these values that we should adopt in our life. Like humility, like non-violence, like truthfulness, like forgiveness, honesty. These values Lord Krishna prescribes in the 13th chapter. At the end, Lord Krishna says, Etad jnanamidi proktam ajnanam yadatonyatha. This kindness, forgiveness, truthfulness is called knowledge, and the opposite is called ignorance. So even if you do not worry about that knowledge of Brahma Jnana, etc., so it's too much for us. Not for us. You need not worry. If you think that Vedanta talks of very high, very tall order, let us just set aside for the moment. A time will come when what Vedanta teaches becomes very relevant to us. But until then, we remain karma yogis. Who is karma yogi? Karma yogi is an intelligent person who makes every karma an opportunity to bring out the goodness in him or her. That evil also is trying to take hold of me, control me. And goodness also is trying to control me. Whenever we are about to perform any action, both these opposite tendencies manifest in my mind. And each one of them tries to control me. At that time, I have to be firm and not allow myself to be controlled by the tendencies of ignorance and assert the knowledge or the goodness and kindness in me. I have to do that. It may not automatically happen. It is quite possible that the force of evil may take over me if I don't make a conscious effort. My selfishness will take over me if I don't make a conscious effort. To be selfless, I must make a conscious effort. When somebody hurts me, the tendency to retaliate is natural, habitual. If I do not make a conscious effort, I will always make tit for tat. I must make conscious effort. It's not tit for tat. It is kindness regardless of what the other person does. So these negative tendencies, which are not my nature, but which have become my habit. Nature and habit are two different things. By nature, I am a kind person. But by habit, I may be an unkind person. Because I live life like that. In the midst of the world, where there is a lot of cruelty, and there I also may have picked up many of those tendencies, thinking that that is the way to live life. So this morning itself I read a sentence. To live a life of kindness in the world that is cruel is a very difficult thing, but that's the real courage. That's not weakness. That is the real strength, real courage to be kind in the midst of the world that seems to be cruel. But so far, unfortunately, I have picked up the tendencies that the world has shown, the world in which I am living, and now that my understanding has changed, now that I have value for being a yogi rather than a bhogi, now that I have value for being a contributor rather than a consumer, that will not come easily. That comes only when I make a conscious effort, and not only a conscious effort, but I show a true determination to overcome that habitual negative tendency. To be jealous is easy. To retaliate is easy. To tell a lie is easy. To utter hurting words is easy, hurtful words is easy. But to deliberately utter kind words requires a conscious effort. To be kind requires a conscious effort. It does not happen automatically. By doing this consciously, a day will come when you become habitually kind, then you are conquered, then you are a successful person. So by deliberately living a life of kindness and goodness and life of contribution, a time will come, we don't know when, but a time will come, when I will find myself a effortlessly kind person. When that kindness and goodness becomes effortless, you are truly a successful person. You are Brahman, I tell you. Because Brahman means kindness and goodness. And then to know that I am Brahman is not very far away. In the mind that enjoys the natural kindness and happiness, to see the fact that I am Brahman is not difficult at all. Right now it seems to be a tall order, Swami, how can I see that I am Brahman? But we have to prepare ourselves for that knowledge. They say that when you want to have an interview with the Queen of England, you need to undergo a training for a couple of weeks as to how to walk, how to talk, how to dress. They would arrive like that. And then become qualified to meet, have a few seconds of interview with the Queen of England. And what to talk about having interview with Brahman, Certainly we need a lot of training. How to walk, how to talk, how to behave, how to be. And Karma Yoga is a training. Meaning, living life of yoga or right attitude is a training. But it is said, unfortunately, we have to live a life of kindness because kindness is our value. And we may find that we have to live among people who are not kind because ignorance prevails everywhere. It is ignorance that makes a person self-centered. Ignorance that makes a person insensitive. It is ignorance that makes a person maybe even aggressive, even cruel. So it is not the fault of the world that people are like that, because ignorance has made them what they are. Now we are equipped with this new understanding that now I am a yogi, or I have a value for being a yogi, a value for being a contributor, a value for being a kind person. Then Lord Krishna says in this verse, Sakta karmani avidvamsa yatha kurvanti bharata. He Bharata, he Arjuna, yatha avidvamsa, just as ignorant persons perform their actions with self-centeredness. Well, that is the natural habit. That they perform action not for the value of action, they perform action for the reward that action brings. There will be very few people who perform an action for the law of action. There will be a few who enjoy action. But most people perform action for the reward that the action brings. Because people find happiness and reward, unfortunately. Most people have not discovered the joy of doing, joy of action. Action is a drudgery. And therefore you have to get over with it. It is very stressful. But I wait for the day when the reward comes. I wait for the payday when the reward comes. I spent the whole week, even from Monday morning, planning for Friday evening, planning for the weekend. What fun I will have Friday evening. What fun I will have when I go to the beach during the weekend, etc. So I spend week planning for that. Planning for the reward. Because it has been taken for granted. The happiness is in the reward. Lord Krishna says, hey, discover happiness in your effort. Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu ganachana. Karma means action and effort. May you learn to enjoy your effort. May you learn to gain happiness from your action. Because action or effort is what you can control. The outcome you cannot control. You even make the best effort and still there is no guarantee that you will gain the outcome that you want. If your happiness depends upon desirable outcome, then your happiness is uncertain because there is no guarantee that the outcome will be desirable. On the other hand, if you have learned the art of enjoying your action, enjoying your effort, then you can control because effort is something that you control. The Swami, how do we enjoy the effort? How do we enjoy our action? Well, action means a lot of exertion, Swami. You have to work very hard. 12 hours a day, morning till evening and so on. So action seems to be very hard. How do you make your action enjoyable? That is when the yoga comes. When an action is performed with the right attitude, then action itself becomes a process of enjoyment. If you perform the very same action as a means of contribution, an action that is performed as a means of consumption to only satisfy my self-centeredness, then that action becomes a burden. On the other hand, that very same action, if performed with the attitude of making others happy, contributing something. But Swami, what can I contribute? What do I have? I'm not a wealthy person. I cannot contribute money. I don't have power. I don't have any means to contribute. You have plenty to contribute. What do you have in plenty? You have plenty of kindness. You have plenty of compassion. No, I don't feel compassionate, Swami. So that is where you have to make a deliberate effort. They say, fake it till you make it. If kindness does not arise in your mind, you want to be kind, but somehow kindness does not come to you. Don't worry. Act as though you are a kind person. You follow? That we can do. Meaning that, how would a kind person act in this situation? You act that way. Even though there may not be a genuine kindness in you, you pretend to be a kind person. That way at least you display a value for kindness and you tap into the kindness which is within you. And thus, I take an opportunity of performing, it doesn't matter what action it is. Because everybody has to perform different action at different times. You may be performing household work, working in an office, working in a farm, digging ditches, I don't know what anybody has to do. People have to perform different things. And sometimes we cannot control what we do, we do whatever we are asked to do by the circumstances. But Lord Krishna doesn't bother about what we have to do. What is important is the attitude with which we have to do. And that is within our control. We may not be able to control what we do because that is what the world decides for us more often than not. But the attitude with which we do is something that we can control. If that attitude doesn't come, it's not easy to be kind, not easy at all. It's easy to be aggressive, not very easy to be kind or compassionate. Then you pretend to be a kind person. Have a half an inch of smile on your face. Even though inside you don't feel like that. Looking at that person, some other kind of feeling comes in you, but you do not allow that feeling to take over you, and you deliberately act as a kind person. So that is called training ourselves. So you find that people are aggressive, people are self-centered, people are cruel. And you are required to function in the midst of these people. That's what the first line says. That because of ignorance, people have no choice to be different from what they are, really. It is not that people are self-centered by a choice, it is what ignorance makes them. So even if you ask them to be selfless, they cannot be, and they will ridicule you. They will think that you are an impractical person, you can't function in the world like a kind person, they will kill you. So outwardly, you function as they are functioning. But within, you have your own attitudes. Meaning that you function as efficiently as they do. You see, the people, because of self-centeredness, there is a great motivation and drive. The self-centeredness, the greed, etc. really gives you a drive and motivation. So we find that people in the world are working with a great motivation and drive, which comes from their greed and self-centeredness, unfortunately. And which is a very destructive thing, meaning that people get destroyed in the process. Outwardly, a person may become millionaire, all right. Inwardly, he becomes a hollow person. Inwardly, we are only moving in the direction of misery, being a miserable person. Because a greedy or self-centered person cannot be a happy person, then you have to resort to other means for being happy. So all kinds of vices come in the life. Because your work doesn't make you happy, your life doesn't make you happy, your relationship, because the same self-centeredness comes in your relationship. Same kind of greed and aggression in the relationship also comes. You can't enjoy your relationship, you can't enjoy your life. So you have to resort to unnatural means of enjoyment. That's how lots of vices come. Anyway, we are not here to criticize other people. We are describing people that are described by Lord Krishna in the first line of these words. Avidvamsa, ignorant people, non-discriminating people, saktaha, they are always attached, meaning that they value only for the reward, for the outcome, for the performance. Then there is no value even for people. There is no value for anybody. Ultimately, for you, the outcome becomes so important that everything loses importance. In the process of achieving your outcome, you don't even see that you're hurting other people. You are trampling upon the rights of other people. You become insensitive. And they are supposed to be successful people. Anyway, but then this is Arjuna, this is what you will find. But how should you function? Second line says, Kuriyad vidvams tatha asaktaha chikirshuhu lokasangraham. What should be the attitude of a karma yogi? Asaktaha, unattached, meaning that you are, reward is not your agenda. Your agenda is to perform action in the best way. That is your agenda. To perform action as a contributor, chikishuhu loka sangraham. Chikisha is the desire. So you act with the desire of helping people in your heart. Outwardly you may not show that. See, outwardly you show your goodness and people will take you for granted or exploit you. It's likely. So outwardly you act in the Rome, you are a Roman. Not that you are cruel or aggressive, but outwardly you also act like one of them. So they will not suspect that inwardly you are a different person. Meaning that you act with the same motivation. Whereas their motivation comes from the expectation of a reward, your motivation comes from making your action a means of helping others. Chikirshu loka sangraham. Loka sangraham means simply translated as trying to be helpful to others. Loka sangraha is a big word. Bringing to the right path. A person who is following path of adharma, bringing him to path of dharma, that may be too much for us. But here it is, we have the genuine intention of being helpful to people, being a contributor. So two things, Lord Asaktaha, meaning that one who does not act out of self-centeredness for the sake of personal reward, but one who has a larger motive of contributing to wherever you are. You find yourself in a workplace, you find yourself in a home, you find yourself wherever in a social situation. In whichever situation you find yourself to be, your attitude is to be able to helpful, to contribute. To contribute the whole world is a big thing. But wherever we are, there is a world for us. And to that world, you attempt to be helpful, a contributor. That attitude is excellent. You may not be able to accomplish, meaning you may not be able to do what you wish to do, or helping people, making people happy, so it doesn't happen. That's okay, but at least you have an attitude of doing that. So, thus Lord Krishna here gave instruction to a karma yogi. Then the question is, Swamiji, why are people self-centered? What does ignorance do? Why does ignorance make us self-centered, insecure, greedy? Why does ignorance do that? So what does ignorance do in our lives so that we become self-centered, insecure, self-centered, greedy? Why is it so? So that is what Lord Krishna explains in the next verse, which is verse 27. So I will recite, you please repeat after me. Prakrute kriyamāṇāni guṇaiః karmāణi sarvaṣah ahaṅkāra vimūಢātmā kartāhamiti mañyate. So here Lord Krishna brings to our attention a very fundamental reality about our life. That what we call I, which is ego. So Lord Krishna says that I is a complex entity. That ego actually is made up of two separate entities, called Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is the person and Prakriti is the personality. Each one of us is a person who has assumed a given personality. This morning during the Satsanga, we were saying to one of the devotees who asked a question, the Swamiji is Ishvara Sakara or Nirakara? Is Ishvara Bhagavan formless, attributeless, or with form or attribute? I said Bhagavan is both. How can one be both simultaneously, with form and without form? It can be like this. Is it possible that a very wealthy person is simultaneously wealthy man as well as a beggar? Is it possible? A person is a billionaire, at the same time a beggar. Is it possible? It is possible if that billionaire happens to be an actor who puts on the costume of a beggar. You follow? He acts as a beggar. Within himself, he is aware of his identity that I am a millionaire, but outwardly, he acts as a beggar. Where is the beggar? Beggar is in his costume. Even though he puts on the costume of the beggar, that costume does not in any way affect, does not make him a beggar. Understand? If it made him beggar, he would never assume the role of a beggar. Here, by playing the role of a beggar, he becomes more rich than what he is. And so, this is a very strange thing. Is this person, Swamiji, a billionaire or a beggar? Both. How can one be simultaneously a billionaire as well as a beggar? So please tell me, what is a billionaire and what is a beggar? What is real and what is unreal? The billionaire is real, the beggar is unreal. In the Vedantic language, the billionaire is Satyam, the truth, the beggar is Mithya or appearance. Mithya means appearance. One thing appears to be different from what it is. One thing appears to be contrary to what it is. Here, a billionaire appears to be a beggar, without becoming a beggar. So that's called Maya, which makes a billionaire appear as a beggar. Maya does not bring about a real transformation, only creates an appearance. Therefore, who is Bhagavan? Bhagavan is without form, but has put on all these forms. So Bhagavan is called Purusha, the consciousness, and that is called Shiva, Narayana, and by other names. The limitless, what Upanishads call Brahman, the limitless. A limitless has to be formless, because the form always limits an entity. It has to be beyond the form and attributes and qualities, because a quality limits. If I am good, I cannot be bad. If I am right, I cannot be wrong. So anything that possesses form or qualities or attributes will exclude other things. Whereas one that transcends the form and qualities and attributes includes everything. Meaning that actor would include a king also as well as a beggar, because he transcends them both. So ultimate reality is what we call the transcendental reality, but that is all pervasive also. It is transcendental as well as immanent. So what we have now, what we experience, nothing but Bhagavan. You and I, each one of us is nothing but the same Paramatma. Unbelievable that I am Paramatma, something I can't be, but yes. Then what's the problem? How come I don't feel that way? How come I seem to act in a contrary manner? Because that Paramatma has put on a costume. That is called Prakriti, the matter, or personality. So we have this costume called the body, sense organs, mind, intellect. That is our personality. That is created out of matter, understand? Not only body, but mind also is a product of matter. That matter is called Prakriti. As far as science is concerned, matter is the ultimate principle. As far as Vedanta is concerned, matter is not the ultimate principle. Consciousness is the ultimate principle. That consciousness is all Purusha or Paramatma that enlivens the matter. So what enlivens this body? What enlivens the mind? What enlivens my eyes and ears and breath and everything? What gets enlivened in the presence of, so that is called Paramatma, who is consciousness, who by his very presence enlivens this personality. We will not go into this theory of evolution, etc. But the thing is that whatever evolution takes place in presence of consciousness. So body is live, body shows sentiency. So does mind, and all of these are sentient, alive. And therefore we naturally, habitually take them to be self. So this is called ignorance. What is ignorance? The costume is taken to be the self. Imagine that actor who is a billionaire by nature puts on the costume of a beggar, and before coming out onto the stage, there's always a big mirror in the, behind the stage. And every actor before entering the stage stands before the mirror, actor or actress, and then sees. Although they've been very well dressed up by all those specialists. There are costume specialists, what would they call? Yeah. But still, last moment, generally takes a look at how I look. And suppose this actor is under the influence of something. Because to act on the stage before the people is not easy. You get nervous. And sometimes if you had some problem at home, you had some arguments with your spouse, and so at that time you are more nervous. Then to calm down your mind, sometimes you need help in terms of consuming something. And suppose that is the usual stuff anyway. Most of the people who come on the stage, they may be singing great bhajans, by the way, great devotional songs outwardly. Inwardly they have a great stimulant within themselves. That's where they get inspiration from. Anyway, but regardless of that, imagine that this actor has, consumed a little too much and forgets who he is and looks at that mirror, and what does he find? A beggar. What does he say? I am a beggar. Suppose this is called delusion. Brahma, taking one thing to be different from what it is. If this actor, looking at the mirror, finds a beggar there and says, I am a beggar, then he is as good as a beggar, even though in reality he is a billionaire, in practice he is as good as a beggar. It is not what I am that counts, it is what I think I am that counts in life, understand? What is lying in front of me is a piece of rope. But if I think that it is a snake, it doesn't matter what it is. For me, what matters is that it is snake, and then I will treat that entity as a snake. Similarly also, even though this actor by nature is a billionaire, if someone's mind, his idea has taken hold that I am a beggar, that is all that counts. It is not who he is that counts, it is what he takes himself to be that counts. Very important. Similarly also, it is not who we are that counts in our life. It is who we take ourselves to be that determines what I do, that determines how I live my life. We are nothing but Brahman walking and talking really. Upanishad describes this in a very elaborate manner. Upanishad says that the Creator, God, created all these various costumes. Sarvani Rupani Vichitya Dhiraha, the Vedas say that, Namani Krutva Abhivadanyadaste. Dhiraha, the wise, omniscient Lord, Sarvani Rupani Vichitya, he created all these forms or costumes. In Gujarati they say, Shivataki Jivathayo. the Shiva becomes a jiva. Why? To enjoy these objects of the world. Aneka rasa levane. Because the Shiva is transcendent, he can't, he can't enjoy all these worldly things. This is a story. That Shiva, Lord Shiva, deliberately assumed this costume, and the costume was assumed just to experience the world, but he forgot that he is the wearer of costume. He identifies with the costume and becomes as though the costume. Just as the actor identifies with the costume and as though becomes a beggar, he doesn't become a beggar. That's the reason why someday he can know that I am actor, because that is his real nature. But what has happened is, because of ignorance, because of identifying with that costume, now this Paramatma or Shiva who has entered this costume for sake of fun, for acting. The world is a stage for him to act. हर देश में तू, हर वेश में तू, तेरे नाम अनेक तू एक ही है. यह रंगभूमि, तेरी रंगभूमि, यह विश्वधरा. This Vishwadhara means the universe is your stage. हर खेल में मेल में तू ही है. You alone are playing all these roles. हर देश में तू, you are in every place. हर वेश में तू, you are in every costume. तेरे नाम अनेक तू एक ही है. You have many names, but you are only one. And this universe is like your stage for playing variety of roles. This is the reality. But unfortunately, this Paramatma who came to the stage of the world, putting on all his various costumes to play different roles, forgets his true nature and identifies with the costume. Like that actor, identifying the costume and thinking that I am a beggar. So when we see an actor on the stage, he is not one entity. Even though if you do not know the identity of that person, we may think there is a real beggar because he acts so vividly. In reality, there are two entities, the actor and the costume. So we think that we are one entity. In fact, we are a complex of two entities. The person and the personality. Person, the consciousness, the Paramatma, the personality, is body, mind, sense complex. Which is what I assume, put on for interacting with the world. Meaning that actor has to put on a costume to play the role on the stage. He cannot come out himself as he is, isn't it? Then people will not watch any drama, then they will, watch him. Everything will be disrupted. So Paramatma has to put on this costume in order to perform variety of roles on the stage of the world. But unfortunately, he forgets his true identity and identifies with his costume and thinks that I am a man, I am a woman, I am tall, I am short, I was born, I am going to die, I speak, I am a speaker, I am a listener, I am a thinker, I am a walker, I am a talker. When I say I am a speaker, there are two entities involved there, I am and speaker, understand? I am a speaker, in that there is I am and a speaker. I am a listener, I am and listener. I am a walker, I am and walker. You follow? Who is I am? I am is the actor. Like I am a beggar, the actor becomes a beggar now, becomes a king later, becomes a minister at other time, and so forth. In that, what's the constant factor? The actor is the constant factor. What's the variable factor? The beggar, the king, etc. The costume is the variable factor. So throughout my life, there is one constant factor. What is it? I am, I am, I am, I am. And there is also a constantly variable factor. A speaker, hearer, thinker, walker, talker. You understand? Man, woman, tall, short, happy, unhappy, successful, failure, rich, poor, these are all the variable factors. In all of them, I am, I am, I am. Understand? That's a constant factor. The actor is a constant factor in all those ways. The actor is a real one. The roles come and go. Unfortunately, what happens is, the role is given reality. The poor actor becomes what? He is there. But then he becomes only, he is a secondary place. The primary place occupied by the beggar, the king. So primary place in our life occupied by the speaker, the walker, the talker. And therefore, even though the actor is a billionaire, he is as good as an actor because he thinks, as good as a beggar because he thinks that I am a beggar. So you and I are none other than Brahman, Paramatma we are, limitless we are. But when we identify the body, we become as good, big or small or limited as the body. Body is a small, little insignificant thing, is it not so? Our sense organs are insignificant. Mind is insignificant. This personality is insignificant. Is it not so? The eye is very significant, but the costume that he wears is insignificant. And when I identify the costume, I as though become insignificant. Each one of us feels a sense of insignificance. I am nobody. Nobody bothers about me, Swami. Nobody asks me anything. I don't count. Not only that, but people make us feel that way also. As we are growing up also in our home, and when we go out in the school, and when we go to place of work, everybody reminds me you are nobody, you are nothing. Somehow the world seems to have a habit of all the time making me feel I am no good. And I have started believing I am no good. I'm trying to become significant all the time. What is my life? A constant struggle to become significant. Like that actor, constantly struggling to become wealthy. He can never become wealthy as long as he maintains the notion that I am a beggar. He can never become wealthy. He can become a little wealthier beggar then, but beggar he will remain. So insignificant I will remain. I may have told you this earlier. Our Swamiji's famous statement. When the first time in 1976 our Swami came to the United States and then came back, and he must have come to Canada also. Then we were the students at that time asked Swamiji, Swamiji, what difference did you find between people in India and people in the United States? And his very insightful reply was, people in India are uncomfortably miserable, and people in the United States are comfortably miserable. That miserable doesn't change. Only thing you can change, you can make yourself more comfortable. But that miserableness has to go by other things, not by the external stuff. And therefore, even though I become a billionaire, my conclusion that I am insignificant doesn't go, I am still struggling. A billionaire wants to be, multi-millionaire or whatever it is, and therefore that race never ends. Nothing wrong in becoming a billionaire. Nothing wrong in any accomplishment, understand. Where is wrong is my thinking that I am insignificant. I have to become bigger and better, and you can never, because how big can a beggar become? He can become maybe a little richer beggar compared to other beggars. We can never become limitless, and we are trying to do that. So, why are people insecure? Why are people self-centered? Why do people have these complexes? Why this evil is there? Why is there cruelty in life? Why is there anger? Why is there all this evil in the world? Because of ignorance. What does ignorance do? Ignorance creates in me the identification with my costume, which is an insignificant entity. And therefore, I always suffer from a complex of being insignificant, inadequate. And never feel one among many. I always feel that I have to protect myself because I suffer from a sense of insecurity. So world becomes a place where I must always watch out. Take care, Swamiji, watch out. Don't trust people. So these days mothers tell their children, don't trust a stranger. There must be a reason for that. But then I don't trust. That is why. So the question was, Lord Krishna said that, hey Arjuna, when you will go and function among the world people, you will find that people are insecure, self-centered and therefore aggressive, and there is a lot of evil in terms of aggressiveness, even cruelty. Why is that so? It's nobody's fault. Where is the original fault? Ignorance. What does ignorance do? Ignorance creates in me a habitual identification with what I am not. Like an actor identifying with his costume. And so also I am identified with his body. Who am I? I can write a big thesis about, I'm Swami so and so, I was born this. The whole thesis is there. Of what? That's the story of the body. I think it's my story. But then, therefore, whatever now limitations that belong to the costume, I think all those limitations belong to me. Whatever is done at the level of costume, I think that I do. So body does things. So right now the organ of speech is talking, I say I am speaking. Your organ of hearing is listening, you say I am listening. The body is sitting, you say I am sitting. Swami, I am sitting. Yes, you are sitting. But I am the body, Swami, am I not? Well, if you are the body, then you should be body all the time. See, right now, I am such a self-conscious person that even when I am sitting in front of you, I have a certain hairstyle, I always have a certain expression on my face. I make sure that I come across as a pleasant, acceptable, agreeable person. Is it not so? I don't reveal what is going on in my mind. I always reveal myself or show myself as a pleasant, agreeable person so that you will accept me. I don't want to be rejected by you, but accepted by you. So right now, Swamiji, please, you pose. You want a picture of Swami, then I'll pose with a smile. Make sure that my hands are in a certain place, etc. Why? Because I am the body. I am as good as the body is. If body is smiling, I am smiling. Body is straight, I am straight. Body is handsome, I am handsome. But suppose I'm fast asleep. At that time there is an interesting thing. Then you have to see my pose. When I am sleeping, you have to see my pose. At that time, suppose you want to take a picture of me. Do I smile? No. Then you can next morning show Swami, this is how you look when you are sleeping. Don't show me that. Why is it so? Because at that time I am not conscious of the body. Why? Because I am not identified with the body. Then only I can sleep. So it is not that I am body all the time. If body was myself, I would be body all the time, but I am not. When I am dreaming also, I don't have this body, I have a different body. Because in dream I go to United States, I go to India, I go to all kinds of places, With this body I cannot. When I am fast asleep, I am not aware of anything. I don't even know where I am. If body was myself, then I would always remain the body, but I am not. In fact, even when you are listening to me, if your attention is focused on what is being said here, at that time, even then, you are not aware of your body. It is not that I am body all the time. I am not my mind all the time, because in deep sleep the mind also is not there. What can we call I? The one who persists all the time. The I am, that's all that persists, never leaves me, never forsakes me. The body is not faithful to me. It is there right now and then is not there in the dream. You see, I may have had a full meal and then I go to sleep and I start dreaming. It's likely that in the dream I am a hungry person and I did not have food the whole day. Even though a lot of food is lying in my stomach, I think I am hungry. I am thirsty. At that time, there is a pot of water right beside me in my bed. But that water is of no use to me when I am thirsty in my dream. That shows that all of these are only temporary things. So even if you think about a little bit about this, I know that I am not the body. When you go to a doctor, what do you say? Doctor, please, what's wrong with my stomach? There's a headache. So my head, my stomach, my shoulder, don't we say that to the doctor? When I say my shoulder, it is clear that I am not the shoulder. My head, my body, is clear that I am not the body. Next moment when the doctor, don't touch me, then I become the body. See? But there are times when I do display a distance between myself and the body. I am possessor of the body, not the body. But then I forget. So if we really examine ourselves, it will become very clear that this body I am not, and sense organs I am not, the mind I am not, the personality I am not, the prakriti I am not, I am someone different from that. But that wisdom doesn't remain too long. Again, we get back to the same breath of identifying. So in this verse, Lord Krishna says, Prakrutehe kriyamanani gunehi karmani sarvasha. Whereas Prakrutehe gunehi sarvasha karmani kriyamanani. It is Prakriti, it is matter, the personality that performs all the actions. The walking, talking, speaking, hearing, eating, all of these actions are performed. Thinking, all of the actions are performed by the body-mind sense complex, which is a product of matter. It's called Prakriti, which is my costume. Next line says, Ahankara vimurhatma kartaha vitamanyate. Ahankara vimurhatma, whose mind is deluded because of ahankara, because of identification with the costume, identification with my personality. Karta, I do. So I say, I do. I speak. I hear. I listen. I walk. I talk. When do I say? As I say, in I walk, the I is there and walk is there. The walking belongs to the body, the personality. By lumping them together, I say, I am walking, I am talking. Then there is a big problem there. If it stops there is no problem. But the moment I say I am a walker, I am a talker, all problems are there. Understand that all problems in life are not at the level of I, at the level of walker and talker and mother and father and mother-in-law and son, whatever it is. that is where all the problems are. So mother belongs to the personality. Mother-in-law belongs to the personality. The son and son-daughter, whatever, all in-laws and mother, everything belongs where? To the personality. All those things are superimposed upon me by myself. Like what happens to the beggar, if the beggar is insulted, the actor thinks, I am insulted. The beggar gets $1, he says, I earned something. Identification makes you like that. So ahankara, mudhatma. Well, the Atma, the mind, is deluded by identification with this body, mind, sense complex. So every moment my complex changes. Now I'm a speaker, then I become a listener. I'm a talker, I become a walker, become eater, drinker. The identification keeps on changing. But that is where all the problems are. The walker has a problem, talker has a problem, eater has a problem. Eating Swami, you should not eat this, another problem. The young people are standing around us, they always keep on commenting what is healthy and what is not healthy. I say my whole life is gone eating this stuff, So no, this rice is no good. You must eat kimba, thank you. Wheat is no good. It is gluten. Then what do you take some jua, something which I don't care for, So ultimately, in order to eat healthy, I have to eat something that I don't care for. The only joy that comes in my life is from food. And that also, now this is how. So eater has a problem. Because he may wind up eating that is unhealthy. Drinker has a problem. Wind up drinking something that is unhealthy. And speaker has a problem. I may wind up saying something which ultimately creates a lot of problems for me. Is it not so? All problems are created based on what we do. Moment we do something which is wrong, immediately the world, attacks us. So samsara doesn't belong to I. Samsara doesn't belong to Prakriti. Samsara belongs to the one who is identified with Prakriti. That's called ego. That's called jiva. That's where all the problems are. That's where the sense of insignificance is there, insecurity is there, and from there, all these likes and dislikes are there, all the other problems. So that is why people are what they are. That's why we are what we are, that's why people are what they are. So learn to accept them. The point is that the person is no fault in being what the person is. Swami, the fellow is cruel, but he has no choice. Why is the person cruel? Identification with the mind. There is cruelty in the mind, and he comes across as a cruel person. And therefore, if you find people being what they are, don't blame them. Don't have a grudge against them. Don't hate them. Understand them. That they are what they are because of ignorance, which brings about this identification, which brings about the false sense of ego, which brings about sense of limitation, insignificance, which brings about insecurity, which is what makes people self-centered and aggressive. No fault of anybody in being what they are. Very important. Then only we can be compassionate. How can we be compassionate if the person is cruel? Only when we realize that the person has no choice in being cruel because that their identification makes him so, makes him or her so. So our Swami is talking about two-step response. One-step response is when somebody is cruel, I become cruel also. Two-step response is, I step back. I realize that cruelty is not the nature of the person. It is ignorance and identification is what makes the person what he is, and therefore it is not their fault. When I see that, I can bring about some compassion from within myself. So that is why Lord Krishna tells us here the mechanism of the personality, of what we are and what others are, so that we can understand. And when understanding is there, then the goodness can be there, otherwise it cannot be there. Alright, so we'll take a break here and I guess we'll continue next year. Remember where we stopped. Every time I'll ask this question. Where were we last year? Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Shanti 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 Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krito Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om.
Hari Om. Is it on?